Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to today's session. And today we're going to speak about self-care as one of the topics that you prioritized for this time. And we can't separate self-care from stress because they're really interrelated. So concurrently look at them. And so today's session we will talk about the types of stress, we'll talk about how to identify the signs of stress and then come up with suggested strategies on how to manage or take care of our self-care. Some self-care strategies. In our everyday life, we encounter situations that cause stress to us, just as life itself. If you're a housewife, just do the normal chores, balancing between this child and the other child is crying, and the other that's gone to school, coming back, is injured, or like different things cause us stress. And if you're a working mother, adding into what we've described, plus now work issues that also come with a lot of their own baggage. And then some mothers are even plus also doing a side hustle. So if you put all those together, there's lots of circumstances and issues that can cause you stress because you encounter these things all the time. And as a father, you also have your own issues of, trying to, cope with your wife as, manage the relationship, manage the relationship with your wife, with your children, trying to be a father and father figure to your children, trying to ensure that there is enough provision at home and in the household, and then relatives are there. There's lots of things to balance around. And then you see your friends or your colleagues, maybe you've gone to school together or in the same circles, seem to be doing, much better than you are. Lots of things can cause stress and sometimes pressures from external, it can also be maybe sickness, death, or around the family, that really can cause stress in every day. So it's limitless to what really causes stress. You can't exhaust because it's daily. We encounter this as daily occurrences. I also want to mention that stress in itself is normal and it's a natural reaction in response to a challenge. When you encounter a challenge, a normal natural reaction is stress, because then your body is able to build energy to respond to that stressful challenge or situation. And so stress can be positive if then on encountering a challenge, your body is able to get activated and your mind is able to be more thoughtful, and you get the energy to be able to tackle the situation. And it makes actually life fun when you have this positive stress, because now you get the energy. Oh, my child is graduating. Then you get that energy to be able to actually enjoy that moment. Stress can also be negative if it really takes too long, that you're in a certain state where it disturbs your daily functioning or normal functioning, and then you're not able to work. You do your normal routine work that you do as a source of living or livelihood. If it affects how you're relating with others, with normal other people, and then your personal life, self-care. Are you able to take care of yourself? Grooming every day, like bathe, or shave up, do something. then we can start to worry if you're having any outbursts proportionately. Then we can start to worry if you're feeling so exhausted beyond normal. Then we can start to worry that, okay, this person might be having or going towards to negative stress. So it's important to take note of that. So I want to take time to look at the the types of stress, and one of them is the basic stress, which is really the underlying stress, and this may be individual or at emotional or family or even society level. When, for instance, you have encountered a society issue, for instance, an earthquake, which affects everyone, like Corona, which when COVID came, then everybody's affected and stressed. At the family level, maybe death can occur, and so everybody is affected and yes, stressed. And then maybe emotional level, maybe relationship issues, can happen, and you can be affected. So it can be financial, maybe as a person you're dealing with at an individual level, you're maybe a financial crisis, or you've lost a job, or it can cause you to be stressed. And so generally any maybe increased changes in the general environment that you're living in, and normally decreases after a few weeks. For instance, if there's a birth of a new child, then you expect that, okay, it increases, then it really reduces maybe in the next few weeks, maybe less than a month. You expect that things will normalize. So that is basic stress. And it's important for us to then later on learn how to be able to cope with some of these issues. The other one is cumulative stress, and sometimes it follows really a prolonged exposure to basic stress. So it's still basic, remember, but this time it is prolonged. It's taking longer exposure to that issue, you know. For instance, COVID really took us, and then we thought it's a week, then it's 1 month, it's 2 months, So you can say that if you're continuing to be stressed at that time about COVID, then it could be a potential cumulative stress at that time. And then can often be really monitored by general stress management, and if left to build over time, it can lead to very negative reactions. And then burnout, it can lead to burnout. Burnout is the other type of stress, which is an exhaustion of normal stress management mechanism. So by the time that you have been trying to manage stress, and now all your coping mechanisms are exhausted, then we can say that you're burnout. I want us to get it right. So yes, you're stressed, you have been trying to manage it in the ways that you know, but you're worn out, you're exhausted beyond your ability to cope. We can now say that you burn out. So it's like this. This is your coping, and this is stress. So your stress is here and it's increasing, and then your coping is lowering and lowering, and and then now we can say that, okay, you no longer have enough resources to cope. The stress is now perhaps beyond your ability to cope, so we can say you are burnout. And so you'll find it affects, so we have performance, then we have burnout on the extreme side, and then stress is in there. It's the layer in between. It's now affecting your ability to perform. You remember we talked about your own work. Those are the spheres. Your work is affected, your relationships are affected, your normal life or normal living is affected. If those three core areas are affected, then we know that now you need support. There is also critical incident stress. And here, a person is felt to be under immediate threat. If you witness or encounter a highly stressful, maybe you've witnessed a person being knocked on board and died on spot, or maybe someone has threatened your life. Thieves came in and threatened your life. So that is a type of stress. Or maybe any encounter really that is out of the normal can cause stress. So sometimes these kind of encounters, which are highly stressful, may also lead to post-traumatic stress disorder later on, which certainly needs specialized support. So it's important to know to watch yourself, or to be able to be very self-observant when you encounter a highly stressful event. If you notice any changes in your patterns, your daily living, how you usually do things, sleeping, eating, or how you perceive things, immediately seek help so that you do not, cross over to a post-traumatic stress. There's also compassionate stress, and compassionate stress sometimes we encounter people who are suffering and in extreme emotional stress in our lives. And so when we encounter those people, okay, maybe a close relative is sick in the hospital, and that emotionally takes a toll on you. That is an example of compassionate stress, because you feel what the other person is the pain or the emotional state of the other person, and so that inflicts also stress into us, because you're trying to identify with that person emotionally and stand with them, and naturally, because you are attached to them in one way or another, then you get stressed. Sometimes you hear stories, just stories, or you even sometimes watch movies which are very stressful or very sad. So you hear stories which are sad, or sadness, stress, most of the day or most of the encounters of that story. And those things can make us also stressed and sometimes helpless. You feel like you should be able to support a situation and you're not able to do that. So that becomes overwhelming emotionally for you as an individual. Sometimes cynicism um, is a situation where we sometimes lose belief that people are basically good, uh, because of what you've experienced. I thought it's just important. I think in the requests and in some of the sharing, some of the people mentioned, oh, there are people who are chronically, not good people. They've done this, and so you develop, you become like a cynist. You lose belief that people are good people because of how they have treated you or your experiences with them in a way or another. So in a feeling that we can have impact or changing impact or ability to change the world. And so you lose hope and effectiveness in the way you do things, in the dreams maybe you had. And so that can also be sort of a reason, cause us stress really, because life has not turned up in the way that we thought would things would be, or how you felt you could fit into the puzzles of life and make the world a better place. And so I wanted us to talk about some of the stress factors or triggers in life. We've already actually mentioned some of them at the start, but you can again just recap and sometimes if you're working, then high workload, poor relationships with your fellow colleagues or your management teams or line managers, and sometimes unsupportive environment. Maybe you are overwhelmed, you're supposed to juggle work, children, and your business and life itself, and you don't have anybody to help you with the children. Your maid has left suddenly, and it's all unplanned. Those can cause you really stress. If you're living in an insecure environment where thieves can easily come in anytime, that can be your environmental stress. But also maybe at work where your kind of work is not stable, and anytime that your job is not secure, that can cause you stress. It can be in the relationships that you have with your children, with your spouses, with family members, with your friends. Things can happen in between and cause you to be stressed. These can be just triggers. Also, sometimes you've encountered all the other things that we've talked about, and then these can just be triggers as well, and just blow things up for you. And then painful stories, like we talked about, from the beneficiaries, just recapping really on this. And this can result into poor productivity in your business or in your job. Quality of life itself in general becomes really poor, and the quality of services that you can offer as a person. That you're a performer. Reporting, you send a report once and it's approved. This time you're sending one, twice, three times, and they're still sending back with comments. Then you should watch out for yourself, and you can find you're having issues with your relationships at work, with the children, with your spouse, with almost all spheres. Then if it's one, maybe you can be okay, maybe. But if you're randomly sample, and it's different relationships that are being affected, please look into yourself. Don't think that everybody else is a problem. First, do a self search and see what might be happening in yourself, within you, so that you can take care of that before you blame everybody else except yourself. Sometimes it's also negative influence on relationships. Sometimes this can lead us to make very irresponsible choices that you would have not made if you're not stressed. That can be sexual, that can be any dangerous behavior, substance use, anything that in your normal state of mind you wouldn't do them. So it's important to watch really out for these signs of stress. Anger, emotional outbursts, suddenly from nowhere. Your emotional reactions are not proportional. I just said, "Oh, hi, good morning. What's good about my morning?" Okay. That's not proportional to. I was just being kind to greet you and find out how you are. You're irritable, you're failing to sleep, or you're sleeping too much, more than the usual. You're feeling sad most of the time. You want to be alone. Like everybody irritates you really, and you just want to be in your corner alone or in your space. You feel so uncomfortable when somebody, and really makes you pissed off when somebody's coming in your space. Loss of appetite or too much eating again. You've seen some people gaining weight, and they're like, "Oh, for me, my stress." They even call it my stress. Sometimes it makes me to gain weight. It's because you're eating you're eating more than usual, and then you want to be alone, so no activity. Then what happens? It's weight gain. and no interest, lack of interest in the things that you used to like, used to enjoy into movies, used to enjoy going to to take a jog, or you used to enjoy to be with your friends, going to church, and then now nothing seems to be enjoyable anymore. And for married, sometimes stress can cause loss of sexual pleasure and appetite. Please watch out for that. You're always the one saying, "No, I'm not in the mood." It might be because you've lost that sexual urge, appetite, due to stress. Low energy in general, you're dragging yourself, you're feeling like you feel like a trailer should come and pull you, over, or a bulldozer. Unexplained illness, you're complaining about everything, the back pain, the what, you having diarrhea, the headache, everything is not okay with you. You go for medical checkup, nothing is a problem. Those are called psychosomatic symptoms. They can unexplained. Physically, you'll be fine, but it's because of stress can cause those absent-mindedness. You can't focus. You're trying to do this thing 1 minute, and someone is trying to tell you a story, or trying to interact with you. You find yourself very far away. Low performance at whatever that you're doing, feeling hopeless, feeling like life is not worth living. You understand? Those are now suicidal indicators. You start feeling like that, thinking about yourself, or attempting to even thinking about death, because the moment you start thinking your life is not worth living, the next thing you're going to think about is how you should just die. And then sometimes you even start to plan how you should die. That's now suicide, and it's an emergency. Emergency. A moment you notice, or even just imagine yourself or any other person having these suicidal tendencies, immediately seek help, please. It's important then for us to improve our self-care, that one, we recognize the warning signs that we have talked about. Recognize all these signs when they know your body, know yourself. Know when you're sleeping too much and not sleeping too much. Know when whatever signs that we've discussed. Recognize. Try to score them in your body and within yourself. And know when things are not going well. Because it's only you can actually know best. And you can also recognize this in others around you. Then recognizing is really important. Then two is to determine what now do you do. What now should you do? Should you talk to somebody? Should you seek professional help? Should you, if it's mild, maybe you can try to do some of the things, strategies, so that you can try to improve your well-being. Third is it's important to adapt to the new skills and strategies. Initiate new relationships. Tell a friend about how you feel. And by a friend, I mean that person that you can trust. Not everybody is a friend. Some friends make it worse. Because if they laugh about it or talk about your issues with others, they make the situation worse. You rather seek professional help. If there is no person that you can talk to straight away, you can go to my inbox or go to the medical facilities that we've talked about initially, please, so that you can improve on your well-being. It's important for us to develop strategies for self-care. And like I said in the beginning, strategies that work for one person can be different from what works for another person. For instance, we're just going to sort of share general strategies. You can personalize them to what works for you. One of the strategies, and you can look at the signs of stress and actually develop a strategy. So look at what you're going through and develop strategies for them. For instance, if I am failing to sleep, then my goal is going to be improve my sleep patterns. Usually, if you spend the evening and long in your night into your night watching movies and having lots of light, especially the screen light from your phone or computer, even without stress, you're going to actually may struggle to sleep. So some of those things, try to build a conducive environment that will enable you to sleep. Meditation, for instance, can help us. Meditation means that we try to, I'll be able to share it as a strategy, but you try to visualize a very emotionally elating situation and circumstance and try to relate or create your emotion around that. So you'll find that it improves your mood. It's important that we try to develop things. Remember, one of the issues of stress is that you're no longer interested in the things that you used to like to do. And the things that you used to like to do are usually like hobbies or things that give you humor and socializing. So your goals then, you should develop goals that then help you to undo that. That means, how then do you rediscover your hobbies? How do you enlarge or strengthen your socializing or social behavior? How do you then responsible ones? How do you recreate your humor in finding, of course, if you find out the things that give you your hobbies, the things that you love to do, then that's related to your humor by default. And then good sleep. If you're struggling with sleep, then you need to create an evening environment that improves your sleep. If it's phone calls, if it's chatting that causes you to be very agitated, then you're not going to do that in the evening hours. Try to adapt positive strategies so that you can have peace and sleep well. Because when your sleep is affected, your mental health is going to be affected, but also your physical health. Work on your diet. Improve your diet. If you've been doing junk and things that are not healthy, please improve your diet and eat healthy food, vegetables, fruits. We are endowed anyhow with nature and also fresh and affordable food that you can either make from home, even go to a local restaurant. You can be able to get good local food and you can balance around that to be able to give you a good diet which is healthy. Please incorporate exercise in your schedule in a way that you can. At least exercise even 30 minutes a day. I mean rigorous exercise. Please don't count today I walked from the market to the house. That's good, but have a schedule where you have exercise routinely and keep it up, because consistency then is the magic. Try to do relaxation and breathing exercises. Breathing is important if you master it, and try to use it on time always. When you feel overwhelmed, it's important to breathe. Breathing is magic, my dears. I can just share with you a quick strategy. If you just imagine you have your one of your favorite scents or a flower on one hand, and you have a candle on one side. The candle is lit, and you have a fresh flower on the other hand, and it has quite a nice aroma scent. And so we're going to try to breathe in the scent as much as we can, and then save that breath and blow out the candle as hard as you can. Okay, this is my a flower. So I'm going to try to take in as much scent as I can. It's a rose here with me. So breathe in with me, please. We're going to take 5 seconds to breathe in and 5 seconds to breathe out. We go. Breathe in. And out, blow the candle. Have a good sitting posture and relax your shoulders. Sit comfortably and do that 5 times. Breathe in and out. Take in the flower scent and out, blow the candle 5 times. You will feel better instantly. Please do that as one of your exercises. Especially notice when you notice when you're stressed, then those are some of the magic fixes, quick fixes that you can do. It won't solve the problem, but you'll feel relief. You'll relax immediately. It's important then to also reflect on your feelings, and then building your life boundaries. It's important to reflect on your feelings and building boundaries on how you relate with others, on how you say yes to what, on phone time, on have me time, have things that guide you, like develop your own kind of life barriers and life strategies that can help you reflect. Take time, like reflective time. Take time to reflect on you, like you take time and you be alone and reflect really on how you can improve yourself, on how you can be better, on how you can. I don't think we do that most of the time. We're just, it's a roller coaster. We're running day and night. We don't take time off. And if this means whatever time is good for you, for me, my best time is actually my toilet time. Like I enter and I feel like this is my me time. Like I take that time to reflect on my life, to relax, I come out when I'm good, in and out. So whatever works for you, if it's a trip, if you can afford that. But it's just important to find a way of incorporating your reflective time in your normal routines. If it's waking up early and if prayer works for you, it's important to do that. And then yoga works for you, take that time. But have time that you can have yourself refresh and reflect. It's also a good way to start the day. Plan your day. The other one is self-awareness and making positive changes, efforts to change things. So by the time that we are identifying and being aware of what our stressors are, you're already becoming self-aware. You now know that, okay, now I am not sleeping well or enough. Now, I'm having these funny palpitations. Now I'm sweating a lot. Now, self-awareness. Know yourself and know what works for you. Do not go by the general public. Do not please everybody. Find out what works for you without hurting others, and run your own race and develop then positive efforts to change. Because you may know what you want to do, but then you need to be intentional. That yes, I have developed this routine to do exercise. Now I need the energy, the zeal, the intention, the consistency to be able to achieve it. The other thing is avoid using harmful drugs and substances, because this sometimes, depending on who you meet, they can give you their quick fix and it will seem to work. But my dear, that can bring a whole lot of issues to you. Addiction, you're at risk. You will basically fail to function normally, because now you'll start to depend on that. And all the other spheres that we talked about, your work, your relationships, your daily living, all those are going to be affected. So do not even start that. Let's try things that we have explored. It's also important to identify trusted persons in your life that you can share with. It's important. Yes, we say, oh, people are not trusted these days and all that. If people in your life are not trusted, I don't want to say drop them, but please, maybe they are not the right people. Please look for the right people that you can trust. They are still good people that we can have enlarge your social circles. And not everybody in your social circle you can share with them personal things. Okay? Relationships are at different levels. There are those that even should not have access to your house or to your home or your personal information. There are those that you meet in the street, hi, oh yes, oh I missed, and ends there. And there are those that you bring somewhere close and say, oh yes, we lost somebody, yeah, you can share a bit of information. But there are those friends who can stand with you in all times. They share your problem and can never share with others. And they help you to edify you, to build you, to support you, to work with you through your issues. These are the kind of people we need in our lives. That kind of person, it's important to identify them, and you can share if you're overwhelmed, stressed. Those are the kind of people that we share our stressors with. And look out for someone else or a buddy that you can have as a buddy. A buddy is a person that can walk with you through the journey. And if you can identify this kind of person, then you can walk life with them. And you can share with them, and then you help each other. An accountability partner, some people say that, call it so. Please seek professional help. It's important to seek professional help. Do not let these things take so long. Seek professional help so that we improve your well-being. We talked about physical exercise, and I can't emphasize enough how it's important, but it helps us to really multiple benefits, improves our overall health. It reverses our mood instantly. It increases our energy and clears our mind. Imagine you've had a run and you're sweating. And you can do things that these days, there's a lot that you can do. You can do at home, in your bedroom. You no longer have to necessarily, gym is good because then you have a social support system. But if you can't, then you can do it even in your bedroom. I can also be able to share some of the links sometimes I use for my own physical exercise. And if you're working, if you're an employed person, please utilize your leave days. to rest and rejuvenate. That's why leave days are there and they are paid for. Do not think that you're this alpha and omega who can never be replaced. Sometimes those are insecurities. Please learn to know that yourself comes first and take leave and and let others take over when you're not there fully. Let other people take over the work fully and you rest because the organization has paid for you to rest. Please rest. And it's always good to have someone that you are accountable to. We talked about an accountability partner. But if you're in a work situation, please ensure that you speak out your issues to your staff person who is supervising you, line manager or supervisor, whatever you call it. And ensure that if you're a line manager, you're supporting your staff and also staff welfare. You have routine meetings with your staff and you're ensuring that you have constructive feedback with your staff and also very honest discussions which are constructive to enable them grow and to edify them rather than to destroy them. Thank you for your time. I hope that this has been helpful. Please let me know which aspect has been most helpful to you and feel free to ask any questions. And as usual, seek help. If anything is so sensitive, do not post on that platform. Just share with me on a direct message. Thank you, and please enjoy your self-care. Bye.